Nikhil Nas and Rahul Rawat, who are joining us live, both of whom were in Paris, have just returned back to India after covering the Olympics for us. Nikhil, I'm going to begin with you. At 9:30, by 9:30 at least, we're expecting a verdict to come in. And I've been seeing in the last few days, you've been expressing that there is definitely a chance of this going Vinesh Phogat's way.
Well, Akshita, I mean, to begin with, it seemed like an open and shut case. But yes, the fact that, and you heard from Vidushpat Singhania as well in the report that you just showed your viewers, that yes, there is a slight chance there. The fact that, the Court of Arbitration for Sports has delayed this twice already, and today we are nearing the deadline. I just hope, fingers crossed, that it's not delayed by another day. So 13th, we were told, is the outer limit. In fact, the verdict could have come any time today. 9:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time is the outer limit. So hopefully the verdict comes today. But the fact that the arbitrator has been pushed to, go beyond that 24-hour deadline that was there to begin with tells you that they are deliberating hard on this matter. There are a few things that the, Indian side has put forward that goes over and above the law by which the sport is governed. Because if you take a look at the law, then it's pretty much black and white. And according to the law, the UWW were absolutely correct then to disqualify Vinesh Phogat. But the few things that they have picked up, and if I could just sum them up briefly to you, the arguments that the Indian side is making. One, on the fact that they are saying that, you need to look at the human side of this story. It was a fundamental right to replenish herself after playing those 3 bouts, so you can't take that right away from her. That's one count. The other thing that they are arguing here is that you cannot have similar rules for the men as well as the women's wrestling, considering, the menstrual cycle of a woman. You have to look at the rules differently, and maybe you should have some sort of relaxation there, maybe a few, 100 grams or so on and so forth. So you have to look at it more compassionately. You have to look at it in a different light. Those are the two arguments. And the third one that they are trying to exploit is in terms of the rules that there are. The framing of the rules, they sometimes have left a few loopholes. And if you look at one particular rule, which is the repechage rule, which allows all the wrestlers that have lost to the eventual finalists, they are allowed to fight for the bronze medal. And in this case, if you see, the repechage contest happened with wrestlers that lost to Vinesh Phogat. So in a sense, this is an admission by the UWW that Vinesh Phogat is the finalist. Because if she's if the wrestlers who are fighting for the bronze are the ones that lost to her, then if she is the finalist in your eye, then she should be given the silver medal. So that's a technicality that they are fighting against, though the rules clearly mention that, the wrestlers that lose to the eventual finalists should play the repechage. But what the Indian side is arguing, that if in your eyes Vinesh Phogat is not the finalist, then allow the wrestlers that lost to Lopez of Cuba, which eventually played the final, they should have been in the repechage round. They weren't. So that's another technicality on the grounds that they are fighting at the moment.
I think it's also important to highlight here that in the appeal put forth, we're not looking for anyone's medal to be taken away and given to Vinesh. The appeal here is to ensure a joint silver medal. So at no point are we saying that, look, she deserves the medal and nobody else does. The idea is to confirm that, yes, everything was fair and square till the final, which is why you look into that particular aspect and consider Vinesh's performance right up till then. Rahul, to bring you in also on this, in the beginning of this hearing, I remember many murmurs saying that this is nothing but a formality. This is just to ensure that we tick all boxes. Today, however, the whole narrative is very different, where everyone's saying that, look, there's a chance that this could actually go in Vinesh's favor. Why is that? Is it because of the course of how really this hearing happened and the arguments that were put forth that many believe that, look, there is a lot of meat in the arguments being put forth by India right now?
Akshita, in fact, Nikhil discussed about this because the moment she filed her appeal, so the arbitrator was supposed to give out her verdict in 24 hours time from the day or from the time the appeal was registered. But that didn't happen. The arbitrator, former Australian Supreme Court judge, Dr. Annabel Bennett, decided that she's going to take more time. Now she's taken, you can say, initially she also said that the verdict should be out before the end of the Olympics. Now Olympics got over yesterday, that is 11th of August. And the decision is now going to come out today. So the fact that she has taken so much time, the fact that she is ready to hear all the parties, it was always an open and shut case. And having spoken to a lot of people, Akshita, let me make it very clear that the international bodies, be it IOC, be it United World Wrestling, they're not too happy with the way things are going on. Although they are also confident that the case will eventually go in favor of the United World Wrestling. But the fact that it has
Okay.
taken so much time, it has given a glimmer of hope to Vinesh Phogat. Now, things have changed. We've seen Thomas Bach, the IOC chief. He also, on record, he said that rules are rules and you have to abide by the rules. But
Correct.
CAS in the past has given such verdicts, and it will be binding on everybody.
This particular verdict, while all of us in India are watching it so closely and praying for it to be in favor of Vinesh Phogat, I think for both of you, considering you're sports journalists, you know full well the impact it will also have on wrestling going forward and what it could perhaps mean in the rules on that front as well. Nikhil, Rahul, request both of you to stay with me. Let's just recap for you all that's happened in the last 1 week. The dramatic turn of events when a nation that was celebrating suddenly turned around, wondering what has happened at the Olympics, and all of that jubilation turned into disappointment, turned into anger, turned into frustration. It started off, of course, on August 7th, which is when Vinesh Phogat was actually disqualified for being overweight by 100 grams before the final. And that sounds like such a small amount, but in the world of wrestling, a huge deal. Even for 50 grams, people get disqualified in this manner. Now, the IOA on the very same day went ahead and approached the UWW, which is essentially the World Wrestling Federation. They also went ahead and approached the International Olympic Body as well, but to no avail. Very clear message was sent. The rules are rules, and the rules are very, very clear in this regard. The next day, the IOA took the step of actually approaching the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which is where the case is currently going on. So on the same day, the two demands were put forth by the IOA and for Vinesh to allow participation in the final and to award a joint silver medal. This was while the Olympics was still going on, so they could put forth that demand for participation in the final as well. Now, at that point, the arbitration, the Court of Arbitration, the CES came out and said that the first option is not going to happen. There's no question of participating in the final for Vinesh Phogat. And they have, however, at that point, accepted the second argument, which is for a joint silver. So the hearing since then has been on that medal for Vinesh Phogat. Four, in fact, lawyers from the Paris bar were brought in to represent Vinesh at the Court of Arbitration. But that's not all. The IOA has pulled all stops. They've roped in Harish Salve as well as Vidush Singhania to also be a part of the hearing. The former Solicitor General of India, Harish Salve, was also brought in to represent IOA in this particular case. August 9th is when the hearing actually happened, which went on for 3 hours. And we've been getting you details here on India Today about the kind of elaborate arguments that were put forth by India, by the IOA and by Vinesh Phogat's legal team. Now, the next day, the Court of Arbitration for Sport extended the time for judgment by another 24 hours. And then again the next day, on August 10th, when the verdict was expected, it was delayed further to August 13th, which brings us now to today, when we're expecting a decision from the Court of Arbitration. Unlikely, really, that there will be a delay, but you can never say. I'll just take in a quick question with Nikhil Naz on this. Nikhil, a word must go out, a word of appreciation perhaps for the IOA, for authorities right now on how swiftly they really moved to ensure that all legal options are also explored. You've got the best legal minds also who were brought in immediately in Harish Salve and Vidushpat Singhania to ensure that we put forth that strong case.
Well, that's absolutely right, Akshita. I mean, to begin with, it was an initiative taken by the athlete herself. So the initial appeal that was filed was Vinesh Phogat, though the IOA, and I know that the IOA did go and meet the IOC bosses. They went and met the UWW bosses and said that if something can be done. At that time, they were told that no, nothing much can be done. They followed the rule to the T, so nothing much can be done. So the athlete actually took that recourse that she has, and it's available to every athlete present there at the Olympic Games to approach those for pro bono lawyers. She did that, filed an appeal, but from there on, the Indian Olympic Association has backed her. As you rightly mentioned, you've got Harish Salve as well as Vidushpat Singhania that came on board. They've fought many sports cases and cases, high-profile cases at the international level. And the details that I was just coming up with in terms of the arguments put forward from the Indian side, all courtesy the two Indian legal minds that were on board, that has taken everyone by surprise. I know this is conjecture, but it's a possibility that if you did not have these legal eagles involved, verdict may have come out in 24 hours, as the case has always done in previous encounters. It's their experience that has ensured that it's gone on for a good 3 days now. But we're still keeping our fingers crossed as to what the outcome could be.